Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Prolific Creator podcast. My name is Javier Torres, aka Stuff. That is right, Stuff. Most of you that are listening to this probably already know that, but I go as Stuff on a lot of things. So, I'll explain that a little bit later. But first of all, welcome. This is the first ever Prolific Creator podcast episode. This one is going to suck. I'm letting you know right away it's going to suck because it's just me talking, kind of introducing the podcast. Every Wednesday, I plan on having an interview with a guest, and I'll explain that in a little bit. This one it's just, I'm going to try to make it short, okay? So basically, here's the background on this podcast. So I like listening to podcasts every once in a while, and I enjoy listening to podcasts where you're just kind of talking to a creator. I enjoy listening to podcasts like the Ground Up Show. And, I used to think like, man, it would be kind of cool to be on that podcast. But then I'm like, yeah, but I'm a YouTuber with like 600 subscribers. Like, I'm nobody compared to the to the people that he usually has there. But then I'm like, you know what? It kind of sucks that there are a lot of podcasts out there for like creators, but then it's always inviting people that have kind of already really made it big. And I'm like, what about the rest of us? The rest of us are the ones that actually need help. Like Casey Neistat doesn't need help. So, I got it into my head that I wanted to kind of make a podcast for normal people. Now, originally, the whole idea was to have like creators, like people who actually make YouTube videos or photographers, stuff like that. But then I thought, there's a lot of ways that people can create, be it YouTubers, be it photographers, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, and just people that create their own path in life. So I decided, Prolific Creator is not necessarily about creating content. It's about, creating your own path in some way, because there's a lot of people out there with really good stories, and I want to hear those stories too. So the idea is to have every Wednesday an interview with somebody that is interesting in some way. They're probably not going to be people that you already know, unless they told you, you're their friend and they told you to check it out, then thank you for doing that. That's basically what the Prolific Creator is all about. I will let you know straight up. I don't, I'm saying every Wednesday. I don't know if I'm always going to have content. So there might be Wednesdays where I might not have content. I'm going to try really hard to make it so that every Wednesday I have something. So if you guys know of somebody that should be interviewed on this podcast, send me an email. Send it to contact@prolificcreator.com, and I would be more than happy to talk to those people, especially if they are in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area, southeastern Wisconsin area, because I would much rather do interviews face-to-face with people here. I can certainly do like Skype, but if I can do it with people face to face, that's a lot more fun. Plus, we can do lunch or whatever. But that's gonna be. I'm just thinking like that's gonna be my biggest challenge. Keep trying to find people. But eventually, what I figure is, if I invite a musician and they have a good time, then they probably know other musicians, and then they'll tell those musicians like, hey, you should contact this guy so you can be on their podcast. So hopefully that'll be the case. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, another thing that I really wanted to kind of try and do with this podcast, and I don't know how successful any of this is going to be, but I want to build like a little community. I want us to be like a little community, so that if you're a musician that I don't know, maybe you are really good with singing, but you have no real talent creating actual music, maybe somebody else that I have met is really good with that, but really sucks at learning, and then I can get you two together. Or maybe somebody that's listening to the podcast is really good at whatever it is that you need, and they'll be able to help. So, again, I feel like when you're starting out, you need all the help you can get. And a lot of times it's very difficult to get that help because you don't know that many people. You just started kind of doing the thing that you love, and you don't know what other people, especially in your area, might be able to help you with that type of stuff. So that's definitely one of the things that I want to get going over here. This podcast is basically a whole new thing for me because, like I said, I go by the name of Stuff Online, and it's because ever since early 90s, when I started playing on my Super NES S-band modem, there was this little thing that we could do where instead of putting our profile information, we were able to write news. And again, this was in the 90s. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have internet. So being able to write something that people could read like anywhere in the world, people that also had an S-band modem and added me as their friend, it was cool. And I was very excited about doing this. And thank you, by the way, to my friend Phil, who is the one who kind of got me into that. Not kind of, he got me into that. But anyway, so I wanted to be able to write about anything. Like there were people writing about movies. There were people writing about video games. I was like, I can't pick a topic. I want to write about whatever, So then I came up with the name Stuff. I'm like, I'm just going to write about all kinds of stuff. So I did that for a while. And, eventually when I got a computer, the name kind of just stuck. I liked it. I had already created this fictional company called the Stuff Networks, which eventually became a real company, a real, LLC anyway. and I just liked the name. And that has always kind of been my problem. Like whenever I do something creative wise, it's never about anything specific. So I have in the past started forums, which, they were fun. My friends were in it, some other people joined and it was fun, but they were never about anything specific. My first forum was called the Stuff Networks Forum. That name kind of sucks. So eventually I changed it to Anarchy Forums, which eventually became Anarchy Live. And again, I was going with Anarchy because I'm like, well, it's about all kinds of stuff. It's not about anything specific, which also always makes it very difficult to grow when you're not about anything specific. It's like, what is this? What are you supposed to be? And, anybody that ever tries to help you build a YouTube channel or whatever, they tell you, oh, you got to find your thing. Well, I can never find my thing. Okay. So, and eventually I did get into YouTube and I started the Anarchy Live YouTube channel. And I was mostly kind of doing tech, but then I always had the thing where I don't want to be just a tech person. So every once in a while I would throw something totally different. And I get it, if people subscribe because of the tech content and then I go doing a vlog, they're like, what the heck happened here? But that's just my style. Eventually, after using the name Anarchy for a while, I was like, you know what? I miss the name Stuff. So then I went right back to Stuff. Anarchy Live channel became Stuff HD because I figured my original Stuff back in the S-band days, that was the test version. Now we have TV video. So I was like, I'm just going to call it HD. So HD stands for high definition. Some people want to think that it's high density. You can think whatever, I don't care. But originally that was the whole idea, high definition. And with Stuff, it's been the same issue. It's been about all kinds of stuff. Now, I enjoy the people that watch my videos. I enjoy listening to, reading the comments and all that. Like I mentioned, I only have like 600 subscribers. It's a very small channel, but it's fun, so I've always done that type of stuff just for fun, and I'm probably going to continue doing it for fun. However, this time when I decided to make this podcast, I was like, I really kind of want to do something specific. Like I've never tried to actually focus on the one thing. And, like I mentioned, I had the idea of there should be a podcast for people that are just kind of starting out, try to build a little community, try to help them out in any way that I can. And so that's where Prolific Creator began. And again, this is episode 1. I have no idea what's gonna happen. I know that I have episodes 2, 3, and 4 ready. So that's cool. What's gonna happen after that? Who knows? But just one way to find out, right? And this episode, by the way, which is episode 1, I've already recorded a couple of times because, right now I'm on that stage where I'm more like, okay, it's not good enough. So this episode that I am recording now, it's basically me doing what I tend to do with a lot of my YouTube videos, where, I start to really overthink them, and then I don't post them because I'm like, oh, it's not good enough. It can be better. I should do this. I should do that. Eventually, a long time ago, I decided to start telling myself, you know what? F it. Like, just put it out there. Because if you keep thinking about it, it's never going to happen. So just throw it out there and, just understand that you're going to get better with time. And I'll tell you also, I'm not a interviewer. I've never done interviews. So, I mean, I've done some interviews, but not professionally. So, my first episodes are probably gonna suck, but hopefully they're still fun for you guys, and hopefully I will get better. And I understand that the only way I'm gonna get better is by doing that. So I'm trying to not put too much thought into it. This specific episode is kind of weird for me because it's just me talking. And that's what made it so difficult also. But then I decided, you know what, when I'm doing YouTube videos, it's just me talking to the camera. Why is it so weird when it's just me talking to a microphone? I don't know. So anyway, I figured one of the things that I should probably do is mention some of the things that I've done creatively, or better yet, my origins. How did I get into this whole thing? And, I like to think that photography is probably my first thing. I've always really enjoyed photography. I didn't start taking it more seriously till like 2006. But even in the 90s, I was kind of into it. And because of that, okay, so one day I'm watching this, I'm just channel surfing, on Milwaukee. And I find a Spanish music video on a channel. And I just start watching it because back then music videos were a thing, So I'm watching the Spanish music video, and I'm not even paying attention to what channel I'm watching. And then, some of you may remember, but back in the day, there were TV shows where they presented music videos. So the lady comes up, and I'm looking at the background, and I'm like, wait, that's Milwaukee, and it's in Spanish. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like, when did they make a Spanish TV show in Milwaukee? So then I realized that this is the channel 14 back then, which was the public access channel. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, I would like to kind of work on something like this, because again, that was totally new for me. So I sent them an email, and I didn't hear back from them like until a year later. But like a year later, the guy, the producer, he's like, hey, we're going to be recording at Mexican Fiesta, which is this big Mexican fiesta, this Mexican thing they do at Summerfest every year. And he's like, I'm going to need some camera help. So I'm like, okay. So he's asking me if I can go over to his place so that I can get the training. And I'm all excited. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be right there. So I went over there and we started working. He started teaching me all the basics of the cameras that they use and all the how his directions work. Like if he tells me he wants just a face, what he's actually expecting and all that stuff. And then in walks the lady from the host lady. She walks in. She was actually his girlfriend at the time. And I'm like, holy crap! Like this is the lady that was on TV. Like, wow. So anyway, I actually ended up working with these people for a couple of years, and yeah, it was all volunteer. Of course, it's public access. We didn't get paid, but we did do so much. Like every year, we would go to Mexican Fiesta. Every year, we would get our backstage passes, and that was always fun. We would also go to other concerts and all kinds of stuff. One time we even went to Miami to record outside at the it was either the first Latin Grammys or one of the first. And we weren't able to go in, of course, but we had rights to actually record right outside, by the red carpet, and it was really cool to see all these artists go through there. We even went to a taping of like this Spanish show called Sábado Gigante. Well, I don't think it's on the air anymore, but back then it was really hot, and they had some really curvy, beautiful models, and we actually got to interview two of them. So I was able to interview like one called Rachel, and then my friend, actually we interviewed three of them. My friend interviewed Cici, and then I interviewed Rachel, and then somebody else interviewed Mariela that they had. Anyway, point is, it was a great time. I'm just bragging now. No, just working with them was great. And actually, my group of friends, like my group of closest friends right now, they all came from those days. Eventually, the group, it broke apart. The issues came up, and like it usually happens. But I still came out with what I consider now my best friends, and that's cool. But it's kind of funny too, because it's interesting how just about everybody that was in our group actually moved on to doing either something in media professionally, or at least doing it kind of like how I do it as a recreation. Because, I do the YouTube videos, I do the podcasts. I have a Stuff HD podcast, by the way, which you should check it out at stuffhd.com if you're ever really, really, really bored. And I have continued doing photography. I did photography for them as well. But that has always been a passion of mine. And the guy that was a director, he actually works at a real TV station here in the Milwaukee area. The host lady also works at the same TV station. This other friend of mine, he doesn't work at a TV station right now. Actually, yeah, he does work at a TV station right now. He's a cameraman, and then he was in Miami for a while as a cameraman over there also. Cameraman / editor. So, I always find it interesting how we all kind of ended up in some kind of way doing the artistic type of stuff. My friend Ekis, he's a rapper here in Milwaukee. Again, not his professional job, but still, he will be one of the people that I interview in a few episodes. But yeah, it's just interesting to me. I don't know why. The fact that we all still do, in some way or form, still do a lot of creative stuff. I will tell you, I say that my YouTube channel has like 600 something subscribers, and I've been doing YouTube for over 5 years. I think in 2013 I started, or something like that, and up until 2017, I only had like 200 subscribers. So what really made a difference for me was in 2017, I had made a decision that I was moving to Puerto Rico. I am a minimalist. I don't own a whole lot of things except technology. Technology has always been like my weak point. I'm really bad at it. I am trying to get better, but like I still gotta have my iPhone and my Android phone, and I still gotta have my Windows laptop and my Mac laptop. I just really like technology, and I like to have both ecosystems. So, again, with Android, iOS, Mac OS, Windows. Because when I find something cool, I want to try it out. So that's something that I'm still kind of working on. I used to have a really, not super big, but a fairly sized video game collection. And I actually, in 2017, I sold all that. And it for me, it was a weight lifted off my shoulders. I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about this thing anymore. Like, that's kind of cool. I missed it, but at the same time, it was kind of cool. So yeah, in 2017, I got a lot more into minimalism after watching the Minimalists documentary on Netflix. I don't know if it's still there. If it is, I would recommend you go check it out. But yeah, I realized that I was holding on to a lot of things that I didn't really care about. So it was time to let go of them. Like I used to have a little memories box full of crap. And I was like, well, this is what was given to me by such person. So, and it was also full of like greeting cards. So, you know what I did? I ended up taking a bunch of pictures of like the greeting cards, and I threw away the physical object because I'm like, I never really went into the memories box. Stuff was just there. So I'm like, it's pointless if it's there. Anyway, that's my opinion on minimalism. That's a whole other subject. But yeah, I had decided that I wanted to live a nice, normal life. So I decided in 2017, July, that I would move to Puerto Rico. And so I did. Basically, I moved to Puerto Rico with 2 large suitcases that had everything I owned. And everything was great at first. But then 2 Category 5 hurricanes came and well, the first one really didn't do much in my area. But the second one, it totally, the eye of Hurricane Maria went through San Lorenzo. When I came out of my house that morning, everything was different. Like, it was just unrecognizable. And it's kind of hard to put into words the emotion, but I remember when I woke up, well, not when I woke up because I didn't sleep all night, but when I noticed that there wasn't any wind going on anymore, because, when it comes to hurricanes, I don't and stuff like that, weather, I don't mess around. Like, yeah, part of me really wanted to like open the door and try to take a peek and whatnot, but I'm like, no, man, like there's a lot of stuff flying around. I'm not gonna risk it. So yeah, like I didn't get any cool footage of the hurricane, but I was nice and safe inside. So I don't care. So anyway, yeah, that morning when everything was kind of calm, I remember I looked out the window to the front of the house and I was like, oh, it's not bad. Because honestly, at one point during the night, like I had already made up my mind that the next days I was going to have to get in my car and do this and that and whatever. There's probably going to be a lot of driving around trying to check on people and whatnot. And then while the hurricane was going on at night, it hit me like, what if I don't have a car in the morning? Like, what if something happens to my car? What if a tree just kind of falls on my car? So that was like literally the first thing that I wanted to check. So I went out, I opened the window to the front and I looked and okay, my car was there. It was okay. Thank God. And then I looked and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of water, but a little bit of damage to the flowers up front, but nothing too bad. So I'm like, okay, I guess it wasn't as bad as it sounded. So then I decided, let me go check the back. So I go to the back and I open the window to the back, and every single tree that was in that house backyard, my grandfather's house backyard, it was broken or fallen. Like the whole back, that's where most of the wind must have been blowing, because the whole back, it was completely destroyed. And honestly, my heart just sank watching that image. It was like, what the hell? There was before I left Puerto Rico back in 1989. And before I left Puerto Rico, I had gone to my grandfather and I asked him to help me plant a mango. I don't know why, but I decided I wanted to plant a mango. So my grandfather, we picked a spot and we planted a mango. And then I kind of, I moved out of Puerto Rico in 89. I didn't come back to Puerto Rico until 94. And in 94, the first thing that I did was go check out the mango tree. yeah, it had grown a little bit, but um, it was no big deal. But I remember that I took a leaf. Again, back then I was all sentimental about stuff. So I took a leaf and I put it in my wallet, which I kept in my wallet for many years. but then I never went back to Puerto Rico until like 2011. And back then I had just kind of forgotten about the mango tree. So when I went back to Puerto Rico and I went to the back, I had noticed that now, so many years later, there was this huge mango tree that had basically taken over most of the area over there. And I was like, holy crap. And yeah, it had been like over 20 years. So I'm like, crap, like, look at that thing. It's huge. However, the only problem with the mango tree is that it would barely ever give mangoes. Like, it was mostly just a tree. So that part sucked. But after Hurricane Maria, I saw the mango tree and all the branches were broken off. So I was sad, but at the same time, I felt like had that tree not been there, the damage to the house probably would have been worse because it I don't know, I just felt like the tree took a lot of the hit before it actually made it to the house. Now that could just be me making up stuff, but I don't know. It's what it felt like to me. So yeah, while I was in Puerto Rico, I was making vlogs of everything, and that's when I started getting more subscribers because people were interested in the fact that this big guy from Wisconsin decided to just drop everything and move to Puerto Rico. So after Maria, I was still uploading whenever I could. At first, it was extremely difficult. At first there was no signal anywhere. And to be honest, I did on the first day record with my drone some of the footage. However, I realized there's no way of me sharing it because there's no internet. So on the first day, I wanted to get internet, but the biggest thing in my mind was I gotta get my family in Milwaukee to know that I'm okay. So that was my biggest number one concern. Yes, I wanted internet, but more than anything, I wanted a cell phone signal or internet signal so that I could, send a message or something. So on day one, I decided, okay, we don't have internet here or cell phone, but surely Caguas, the next town, must have some because it's a bigger town. So I'm like, okay, they must have some internet. So I get in my car and I start trying to get out, and there's a big tree in the middle of the road, and I can't get out, So there were people trying to break the tree, They during the day I had seen plenty of people walk up there with machetes and stuff, but that road was the only way out. So I was like, okay, I guess this is not gonna happen today. So then I'm like, okay, I'll have to try again tomorrow. And I'm feeling horrible because I'm like, I really want my family to know that I'm okay. Especially like my sister and my dad. My dad in 2015, I almost lost him. So I really wanted him to know that I'm okay. So the next day, I go out. The tree had already been taken care of by the people there, by the way. And I realized it wasn't just one tree. There was a whole bunch of branches of all kinds of stuff on the sides of the roads. And, it was amazing because every road was a one lane road, but people were somehow managing to be polite and all that, being really nice to each other. And they were figuring out ways to get around everything. So I tried making it to the next town, Caguas, but there was no internet. No, actually, I couldn't make it on the second day. So I ended up going to another town, Humacao. There was a tree. That's what I wanted to say. There was a tree also on the way to Caguas, which, by the way, I was on the highway, but even the highway was a one-lane street. Like, we were all going on the opposite direction. It was crazy. But But yeah, eventually I got to a point where I just couldn't go anymore. So I had to turn around. And then I tried going to this other town where I saw a lot of flooding. Like I saw a Walmart parking lot that it was just full of water, but no signal anywhere. So eventually I went back home and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to yet another day without being able to tell my family anything. So then the third day I try again and I went to Caguas, that town. Finally was able to make it to the town. I went to the spot that I always would go when I want a good fast internet. And there was nothing, not even a single bar, nothing. So I'm like, crap, like how am I gonna, like, no cell phone either. So I'm like, how am I gonna tell my family that I'm okay? So I decided I was actually listening on the radio, and they said that in some spots of San Juan there was a little bit of cell phone signal. So I'm like, screw it. Like, I'm going to try and make it over there. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to, or if I'm going to find more trees in the way, but gotta try something. So I started going to San Juan, and I didn't even know the way, but I figured, okay, if I just keep going north, I'll make it there. So eventually I'm driving, and then I get to a part where, I see a bunch of people on the side of the road, and they're all with their cell phones out and holding them up, trying to get a signal. And I'm like, okay, if there's this many people here doing that, there must be some kind of signal here. So I pulled over, I took out my cell phone, and I saw that there was some AT&T signal, but I use T-Mobile. So I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks. But luckily on Android, I don't know if you can even do this on iPhone, but on Android, you are able to kind of try and force it to use that network. So I did. And then it would kind of let me make a phone call, but then it would fail right away. And eventually I was, on the third day, I was finally able to make a phone call to my sister. She answered. I was able to just say, hey, just so you know, I'm okay. Everything's good. And, I think our conversation lasted about 10 seconds, and then it died. But that's everything I needed. Like, I was so happy because I knew that she's going to take care of telling everybody else, no, that I'm okay. So that was such a huge relief for me. And I'm not even sure how this podcast turned into me talking about Hurricane Maria, but, a lot of people wonder about that. So I figured, why not? After that, eventually I did and start going back to San Juan. I did find internet signal in San Juan, and I was able to start uploading videos. But even my first video, where it's just a aerial view of my hometown, I had to do that in a really low resolution because there was no way that I was gonna be able to do it HD. And then the whole after all that driving around, I started the whole ordeal with needing gasoline, and that was a whole different story. Getting gasoline, it was I made so many lines that when I go, I make a line for anything now. I'm like, I don't care. Like, go on. It can be a long line. I don't care, because in Puerto Rico, my worst day, I waited 8 hours in line and I didn't get any gas. So I'm like, there's no way that this grocery line is going to take longer than 8 hours. And even if it did, I'm still getting my groceries because I have them in the cart. So whatever, I got time. No problem. But yeah, Hurricane Maria definitely was difficult. I needed a lot of gasoline because I have sleep apnea, so I need to sleep with my CPAP. And in order to power the CPAP, I had to have my generator going all night, which, by the way, I got a generator because my cousin convinced me to get a generator before, like weeks before the hurricanes showed up. So I was very, very grateful for that. But then every night I was afraid of what happens if my generator breaks, because I'm not gonna find somebody to fix it. Um, and I can't go to the store and buy one because there are no generators at the stores. Or what if somebody steals my generator, because that was happening a lot too. So, thinking about this, not knowing when I was gonna get power. Power went out on September. What was it, 20th or 18th, something like that. That house didn't get power till January. But it was in November that I made the decision to come back to the States. I was like, you know what? I tried it. It didn't work. I would love to try it again at some other point. But, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I couldn't afford to keep powering my generator every night, filling that thing up so that it can go all night. My neighbor, he was helping me out a ton. So I am very grateful to my neighbor Luis, but I was helping by sharing my power, and he was also helping me with gas. So that was cool. But yeah, even with that help, it's like I can't keep doing this every night. Every night at 7 p.m. on 8 p.m. I would go and fill up the generator and then get it started again. But I would spend a lot of the time trying to find gas first. So yeah, eventually I came back to the States, and people still watch my original video where I'm saying how I'm going to move to Puerto Rico, and they still comment, and they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I'm like, people, read the dates and check the updates. Like, I just feel bad whenever people comment, but I'm not sure what I can do. YouTube doesn't allow me to put annotations on videos anymore. So I think I did put something in the description, but people don't read that either. So anyway, that's how I ended up getting a few more subscribers, and that's basically the moment that the moment that I came back. I decided that yes, I would love to go back to Puerto Rico and try again, but I definitely feel that I need to go back with a plan. Like last time I just went, I figured, I don't need a fancy job. I don't need a ton of money for the life that I want to live. But even that was very difficult, finding a job. I applied to so many places and nobody would ever get back to me. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm used to the way in the United States where people don't even want you calling them. Like they'll call you. A lot of places are like, don't call us, we'll call you. You can't even go there to apply. Like if you go there to apply, they just tell you to go to the website and apply over there. Maybe in Puerto Rico, I should have been more hands-on, but then, soon after I got there, the hurricane started coming, so it made it difficult. So, yeah, I came back to the U.S. I was blessed with the fact that I was able to start working again at the same place that I used to work at, just a different division, but, I have a job. I got my own apartment now, and because one of the reasons also that I came back to the U.S. is like, when I went to Puerto Rico, I had my savings, but I didn't want to get into a position where I wasted all my savings trying to make it in Puerto Rico, or trying to wait out the no power situation, and then end up having to be a burden on my family over here. So yeah, that is my Puerto Rico story. If you have any questions about it, or about any of the other stuff that I have done in the past, feel free to message me on Twitter or Instagram at RealStuffHD. No, sorry, not RealStuffHD. I changed that recently to @StuffNetworks, because I do this Stuff HD video YouTube channel. Well, I used to. I haven't done a video in a while, but I'm going to get back to those. I do this Stuff HD podcast. I do have a photography thing at javipics.com. And now I have this Prolific Creator podcast. And then I also do t-shirts under the JT Wear brand. And a lot of this started after I came back from Puerto Rico. Again, I decided I gotta go with a plan. So my plan is to figure out all these other ways of making money so that I'm not always, depending on one way. So anyway, this is all under the Stuff Networks umbrella, the Stuff Networks LLC, which is the company that I told you about that I started jokingly way back in the 90s. So Stuff Networks, I decided, I'm not good with social media. I'm not going to be posting Prolific Creator stuff on one page and Stuff HD on another and then JT Wear on another. No, I'm just going to put it all in the same one because otherwise it's not going to happen or I'm going to forget to check it or whatever. So Stuff Networks is my Instagram and Twitter. Contact at Prolific Creator. You can email me there for Prolific Creator. You can also email me at stuff@stuffhd.com for whatever, just contact me at either of those. It doesn't matter. I was going to leave it at stuff@stuffhd.com, but then I was like, come on, at least the email make it different. So yeah, contact at prolificcreator.com. Visit prolificcreator.com for more episodes. I'm not sure what else to say, but I've talked enough already, and it's time to end this podcast. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed the episode. Hopefully it was interesting. And I promise all future episodes will be a lot more interesting because I will be doing interviews. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up every Wednesday type of thing. But if I can't, please forgive me. This is not my full-time job. I have a real job. And I would love it for one day to this be my full-time job. But, right now, who knows what's going to happen. All right. I don't know what else to say. I will at some point have a jingle. Supposedly Ekis is working on one, although I'm sure he's not. But hey, Ekis, get to work. And yeah, thank you to all of you. Without people encouraging me and checking on me and all that stuff, none of this would be possible. Even when I was in Puerto Rico and I was going through the whole hurricane thing, one of the things that made it so much easier was the fact that every once in a while, one of my viewers from YouTube, like they would contact me and check on me and all that stuff. And it was cool to have people that have never actually met me be so concerned about my health and stuff. So that's cool. That you guys are the reason why I do anything that I do creatively. What I do professionally, I do for the money. But all right, I'm gonna stop now. You all take care. Again, Twitter and Instagram at Stuff Networks. And yeah, hopefully this will get better. Next episodes, I'm gonna have an interview with Jordan Lander. She is a singer here in the Kenosha, Racine area in Wisconsin. So look for that. That's going to come out on next Wednesday. All right. Y'all take care. I'm out. Bye.